If you're struggling to lose weight, this may apply to you. Now, I have some caveats here. Assuming you don't already have some underlying health issue, like PCOS or type 1 or 2 diabetes, which does make weight loss more challenging, although of course not impossible. And you also appreciate that when I'm talking about eating food here, I'm not talking about eating perfectly. It's just not necessary and it's not sustainable. As that mentality alone of focus on eating perfectly can be enough to keep derailing someone. Now let's begin. If you are really struggling to lose weight, it's worth appreciating that there may be many drivers deeply ingrained at play here. You may not recognise them or even potentially be aware of them. And these may have been what have caused you to become trapped. Trapped in a loop that is solely focused on losing weight and not addressing the root cause. That overrides your desire to lose weight every time you binge. That pull you have toward the goal when you're feeling tired and stressed just isn't as strong as a temporary sense of reward that you get from binging. This binging may well be a coping mechanism for dealing with emotions that you're very uncomfortable with experiencing. And this is what leaves you bouncing backwards and forwards each time. On the diet, off the diet, on the diet, off the diet. If you are successful at losing weight, you may well find it comes back on quickly. The answer: you may need to start becoming more conscious of those feelings that are arising. And that will be uncomfortable. And some of these feelings could well stem back to childhood, a response to a situation that you may not have had the capacity to cope with at that time. If you are able to sit and observe and reflect on what it is that you're experiencing and feeling when you feel like binging, you can start addressing each root cause. And if possible, over time, completely remove it from the equation. Then hopefully your ability to cope with day-to-day situations that may ordinarily stress you out and drive you to binge eating should over time become easier to manage and allow you a bit more space to actually negotiate with yourself. Now, of course, there can and most likely will be multiple reasons at work, so be prepared to peel each layer back. During this period, you will still have periods where you binge and consume more than you know you should. However, as I said earlier on in the video, the goal isn't to be perfect. That's not necessary. You just need to be consistent, more consistent than you have been previously. So as you bring yourself back on track, try to do it a little bit sooner than the time before, learning and observing yourself. And recognise when you do get yourself back on track a little bit quicker. Recognising when you've done well. And don't be overly down on yourself just because you drifted off. Accept the situation and get back to being consistent. You got this.